welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where after the long video yesterday, I asked for something slightly easier, and I've been presented with a puzzle called When Allies Collide by Playmaker 6174. Now, Playmaker 6174 is a wonderful solver and setter, so I'm in no doubt about I'm in no doubt about how good this puzzle will be. In terms of difficulty, when I saw it was this one, I looked it up on Logic Masters Germany, and it has 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty, which makes me think it might be quite hard. But anyway, we shall see. I'm very pleased to see these blue lines in the grid, because these are region sum lines, and this is my new favourite constraint in Sudoku. So I'll read you the rules of this one in just a moment or two. First thing I need to do, though, is to say a very, very happy birthday to Cliff Leese, or it could be Lisa, or it could be Liza. I'm not sure how to pronounce your surname, Cliff, but I think you're turning 70 today, which is a very, very stately age. And I loved your email about this, because apparently to celebrate, you are going to the local ice cream parlour to order the biggest ice cream they have there. And that is going to do instead of your cake, and you're not worried if it ruins your dinner. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. So I hope you have a super ice cream and, of course, a great day. Other than that, what do I need to tell you about? A few things. I mentioned yesterday, Mark and I are going to be streaming on Friday night as part of the Cerebral Steam experience. So 10 o'clock UK time Friday night. We still have not agreed on what game we're going to be playing. I think it looks like the moons are aligning towards Bubba Is You again, but don't blame me if it turns out not to be Bubba Is You, but it might be. And yesterday's video where we showed Thomas Snyder, the former World Sudoku and World Puzzle Champion, blitzing this Tapper Sudoku, is proving very popular. So if you want to have your mind blown, go and watch that video, having first tried the puzzle, because only by trying the puzzle will you appreciate the sheer ridiculousness of Thomas's solve. And as I said yesterday, if you fancy your solving slightly more at a slightly more snail-like pace, I suppose, but with full logical explanations, then I have put my solve of that puzzle on Patreon for those of you who might enjoy that. Other than that, nothing else to tell you. Let's get on with When Allies Collide. I don't know why it's called. Why is it called When Allies Collide? I don't know. Someone will have to explain that to me, because I don't understand. The rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in that arrow's circled. And digits can repeat on arrows if allowed by other rules. So normal arrow Sudoku rules, what that's telling us is that those 3 digits, you add them up and you put the result in this cell. So if this was 1, 3, 5, 1 plus 3 plus 5 equals 9. So this would be a legitimate way of filling in this circle. Now, for each blue line in the grid, digits on the line have an equal sum n within each box it passes through. So what that tells us is that those 4 digits there, which are the 4 cells that this blue line visits in box number 8 here, they have to have the same sum as these 2 cells, which are the 2 cells that the blue line visits in box number 9. It's a very cool rule. This leads to a lot of interesting geometry and mathematical tricks. That's all the rules. So do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And the first thing I can see here is that this circle is summing 3 different digits, because all those digits are in box 4 must be different. So this circle has got to be at least equal to 6, because 1 plus 2 plus 3 does equal 6. Now, what next? It sort of looks like there's something. There's quite a lot of arrow cells in box 2. So let me think about that for a moment or two. We've got 21 minimum there, plus another 6 is 27. But these 2 arrows are coming off here. So yeah, okay, that's not going to quite work, is it? So yeah, just to tell you what I'm thinking about there, if I minimize the value of all these 6 cells, you can see that I would put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 into these cells, so I would get to 21. The minimum value for these 1 and 2, that's another 3. The minimum value of these is another 1 and 2, so that's another 3. So altogether, these arrow cells, if I minimise them all, I would get 27. And that would have to be the sum of the... well, not quite. I was going to say that's the sum of the digits in these circled cells, but of course that's not strictly true, because this one has 2 arrows emanating from it. So in effect, what we need to do is to divide that 27 by 4. And because none of these arrows see each other, I don't think that's a great restriction at all. 27 by 4 is approximately 7. But I think well, I mean, let's actually think about that properly and check that that's not going to be a restriction. So if I made this digit a 5, I think that might be the minimum it could be. If I make that a 5, these would add up to 10. And then those, what did we say the balance was we were looking for? At least 27. So these would have to add up to 17, yeah, and they could be an 8 and a 9. Which is disappointing. So, and this could obviously be a lot bigger. I mean, if that's 9, then we've got 18 here, and these, yeah, and these could, well, these could be a 4-5 pair with each of these arrows adding up to 4 and 5, because these are not in the same box of the Sudoku. So the minimum value for these circled cells is actually 4, isn't it? I could do 4 if I did a 1, no, a 2, a 1, and a 1 like that. That would be okay. I think the rules said we can repeat. Yeah, we can repeat along arrows. So, yeah, I think that this box is not as restricted as I was hoping. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 10, 13. So these 2 circles have to add up to at least 13 if I minimise their arrows. But 13 means that all we're saying is that each of these digits individually is larger than 4, which is not a great restriction. I think I'm looking at this in the wrong way. I think we've got to look at something else. Let's try the region sum lines, shall we? We shall... Actually, none of these look very interesting either. These 2 have to add up to at least 10, because 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is the minimum I could put on the blue cells in box 8. Everything else is quite evenly distributed. Oh. Yeah, okay, hang on. Maybe it's that. Those cells there, that's the whole box of a Sudoku. And because of the secret, we know that those orange cells sum to 45. And the secret is, of course, something I only tell my favourite people. But people who watch Cracking the Cryptic videos definitely included in that set, in my Venn diagram of favourite people and people who watch Cracking the Cryptic. There would be significant overlap in that diagram between those sets. So, well, the secret is, of course, that any complete row, any complete column, or any complete box of the Sudoku from the rules of Sudoku contains the digits 1 to 9 once each. Add up those digits 1 to 9, you get 45. So I know those cells add to 45, so I know those cells add up to 45. And, well, yeah, that is definitely important, isn't it? Because the maximum I could make those cells would be a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple, which would add to 30. So these must add up to at least 15. So they are at least, well, the minimum we could put into one of these cells now is a 6. Which, that feels, well, this feels much, much more constrained than this did, I think. Well, actually, yes, because I said the maximum I could make these cells would be a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple, but that will not work with this cell, will it? This would have no possible value. So actually, the maximum I could make those cells would be 7, 8, 9, and 5, which is 29. So the minimum these have to add up to is 16, which means that we can get rid of the 6. And we now know this is either 7, 9 or 8, 9 in this domino. So there is definitely a 9 down here. And that means... So these are either adding up to 16 or 17. These are either adding up to 20... Well, if they add up to 29, they've got to be 5, 7, 8, and 9. If they add up to 28, which would be the other option, if we make this 8, 9, these have to add up to 28. That is very annoying, because that way we could add 4, or we could do 4, 7, 8, 9, or we could do 5, 6, 8, 9. Oh no, and we're getting to proper Goodliffe levels of pencil marking here. I think that's the only two ways. I've always got to use 9 and 8. Ah, yes, that's it, isn't it? The point is that to make 28 minimum in 4 digits, I've always got to use 9 and 8. And that's because 9 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 is only 27. So this square is not 8 or 9 anymore. So this is 6 or 7. This arrow has a 1 and a 2 on it, and is either 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 4. Which means this cell has to be at least a 3 now. So this equal sum line is picking up at least digits worth 9 in box 4. So this has to add up to at least 9. And yes, that is as useful as a chocolate teapot. Thank you, by the way, to all those of you who've been sending me that sort of viral video where somebody actually makes a chocolate teapot and serves tea in it. That did amuse me. Wow, okay, so in this row we haven't put 1s, 2s and 3s in yet, but there's nothing to prevent this from, or it probably is the case, this is a low digit. Oh, I wonder if it's set. Is there some sort of set trick going on? Well, there's a very simple set trick, but I don't think it's actually going to help me very much. The simple set trick is to say, well, okay, I know this row adds to 45, and I know my purple digits add to 45. So that means those digits there must have the same sum as these digits. But I think that's slightly fatuous, because we already sort of know that. So, yeah, okay, so these digits here, these digits which were green, either add up to 16 or 17. If they're 16, we would know what they were. They would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And that would have to be the 6, and this would be 1, 2, 3. Oh, bobbins. I'm not sure what I'm missing here, but clearly something. It doesn't matter that this can't be a 9. I'm sure it doesn't matter. This is not under any tension at all. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to find something in this grid that's putting tension onto the constraints. I'm just going to check set in this box. If I was to highlight those, say, as a set of the digits 1 to 9, maybe against row 1, these would get knocked out. These would be in both sets, so we would have a situation where these equal the... No, this is horrible. This is horrible. Often when I try and look for set in these sorts of puzzles, what I'm trying to do is to get the circles into a different set from their arrows so that I can cancel them down. But actually, although at first blush it looked interesting, these poking out of the box is very unpleasant for doing set, and these digits aren't really helpful either, so that's not right. So we have to learn... Oh, actually that's interesting. These can't be a 1-2 pair anymore. So when I looked at the maximum sum of these, sorry, the minimum sum of these cells, I assumed a 1-2 pair here, which is now impossible, because there must be a 1 and a 2 on this arrow, and this can't be a Schrödinger cell. It can't simultaneously be 1 and 2. So the actual minimum value of this is now 1 and 3, which takes up, I can't remember what we got here. Did we get 20? So we're now on 28. So we're now averaging 7 in these circled cells. Right, got something. Right, it's Sudoku, isn't it? It's Sudoku. It's not yellow, it's Sudoku. Where does that digit go in this box? Because it can't repeat on its own arrow, because what we can't do is go 0 and then yellow there. That won't work. So it's not in these cells and it's not in those cells, so it's on one of the other arrows, which means it can't be, this cannot be that big. So the maximum size of this is now 6. This must be important. So I can't make this bigger than 6, because if I do, let's try and make it 7. The minimum value of these two squares is 3, even if this wasn't here. That's going to make this 10, which is too large. So this is a maximum value of 6. And it's a minimum value of 5. And the reason it's a minimum value of 5 is that these digits, which are all in box 2, have a minimum value of the triangular number for 4, which is just 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. If I put 1, 2, 3 and 4 on these arrow cells, these would add up to 10, which would mean this has to be 10 divided by 2. There are 2 arrows, so this would be 5 minimum. So this is 5 or 6. And now, so now these are massively constrained. Well, one of them is at least. Whichever one of these is on an arrow is pushing up its circle to at least 8, I want to say. So if this, yeah, I mean, let's do it with this one because it's not polluted by this 1 2-inch down here. If this was here, you can see the minimum value for this is 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 8. So one of these is at least equal to 8. Hang on, let's just think about this. If this is 5, this is going to have to be 1, 4, 2, 3, which means these are both 5 and 6. Now, that is not going to work, is it, or is it? No, this is really beautiful, isn't it? Wow. This doesn't work. Okay, I'm gonna claim this can't be 5. And I think this little domino here is actually incredibly important for this. And I might be wrong about this, but this is the way I'm seeing it. Because if this is 5, we have to occupy these 4 cells with 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's forced. That means the minimum value of these two squares is 5 and 6, but that's also the maximum value. I can't put 7 in either of them. So then the question becomes, what do we put in these circles? And the problem here is that this little domino here cannot be a 1-2 pair, so it must be greater than 1-2. Let's make it as small as we can, 1-3. Well, the problem with that is it fixes this now as 5 and makes this 9, and that's all fine at this point, except that this has become 6. The minimum value for this to keep this to a single digit number is a 1-2 pair, and that also becomes 9, and that does not work. So that's really, really quite cute. And I'm just wondering if there's another way of seeing that the same way. There probably is. There's probably a more mathsy way of seeing that, but that certainly seems to be true. So now what we can say is that this square is a 6. Now, right, so these circled cells now must be 1, 5 and 2, 4. And what is that doing? So one of these is a 6, so one of these is a 9 for sure. Well, oh yes, this is lovely. Yeah, okay. Because one of these is a 6, which one is it? It's not this one, because that would require the 1, 2 here, which it can't be. So it's got to be this one. This has got to be a 1, 2. This has got to be 9. This is not 9 anymore. This is not... Oh, yeah, look, that's not 9. And we know one of those is a 9, so that's 9. So this is not 9. That means there's a 9 over here. This is not 9 anymore. 9 by Sudoku is in one of these cells. And this digit has to be a 3. And it has to be a 3 because if it is not a 3, its only other option then would be a 7. And that would make this a double digit number again. So this is 3. These two squares are a minimum of 1, 3. They could repeat the 3, couldn't they? I think. So this is at least a 7. Does there have to be a 1 in here? That would be useful to know. No, there doesn't. No, look, we could do 3, 2. That would put 2 here and a 1, 4 pair. Make this a 7. This would be an 8. Ah, no, okay, right, I can't see immediately what's wrong with that. Right, but okay, but in this box now we've got a 7, 8, 9 triple, so that's going to do something, isn't it? So now these cells have all got to be lowish numbers, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s and 5s. There's a 9 in one of those, so that's not a 9. These 3 digits here are... Just wondering about this cell. These digits here have got a maximum value now of 3, 4 or 5, which is 12. And these have a minimum value of 16, so this is at least 4, but it can't be 4 because that's going to clash there. I'm not sure. So I sort of feel like this has got to be a little bit of a high digit, but maybe that's not... Maybe that's not enough. I'm getting properly Goodliffe about this, aren't I? I'm really getting my pencil marks into this grid. Let me see that. This must be somehow resolved now, is it? What's this domino? We just don't know, do we? Problem is, I don't really know what this total is, and I certainly don't know how it's allocated between the boxes. What's the maximum value of these digits then? If we've got 3 here, we can't have 5. So silly me. Right, look, this has got to be 1, 2, 3, and 4 because we can't put 5 here. Otherwise, this would have to be 9. So that's a quadruple, which means this is not 4. So these 2 digits are high now. They're 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not 9. This is not 8 either, because if it was 8, this would have to be 9. So this is 5, 6, 7. So this is at least a 6. So this is 6, 7, or 8. And this cell cannot be higher than 3, and it cannot be 3. That is a 1 or a 2, which is almost doing something here. Yes, look, there's a virtual 1, 2 pair now between these 3, because there's going to be a 1, 2 on a 6 arrow, and there's a 1, 2 here. So this square, that must be under pressure, because I was looking about where to put 1, 2 and 3 in this row before, wasn't I? And this cell is not 1, 2 or 3. So doesn't that mean in this row these 3 digits have to be 1, 2 and 3? I think it does. So that means we've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in this row. And this digit, it can't be 1, 2, 3. And it can't be... I want to say it can't be 6, 7, 8, 9 because I feel like the combination of these having to add to 28 and this must use up 6, 7, 8, and 9, doesn't it? Is it possible to not use 6, 7, 8, and 9 in those combinations? So we know that the total for these 5 digits is either oh no, the way to look at this is to think about the total of these digits now, isn't it? Because I know that these digits, let me just highlight them, these are either adding up to 16 or they're adding up to 17. Now, these are definitely adding up to 6 now. So if it's 16, this has to be a 4 because it can't be a 3. And if it's 17, I need a 5 in here somewhere. So that's going to, so this is 4 or 5. Now, this is lovely. Good Lord. I've now got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quintuple. So 6 has to be on this little thing down here. And these have to be 7s, 8s, and 9s. And these have to be 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. Which means these 2 digits... Oh, in fact, these 3 digits now have to add up to at least 14. 6 plus 7 plus 1 would be the minimum. So these have to add up to at least 14, so I can get rid of 4 from this one. And that does absolutely diddly squat, look. I think that does nothing. That's very, very annoying. Playmaker 6174. You're very, very annoying. I only jest. What does that mean? So, okay. That must mean we've almost got a lot of high digits in the bottom row. Look, those 4 are all high. Can I force this to be high? That's the question that's nagging at me now, because those being 3, 4, 5, I didn't think this could be a 4. What are the, yeah, okay, let's think about this. So what are the actual Sudoku options for this digit here? I need to get this up to 16, at least. So we must be looking at least a 4 here. We can't be looking at 6, so it's 4, 5, 7 or 8 are the only options. Now if this is 4, it's instantly possible to disprove that, because these we can't make these digits add up to 16. 4 plus the maximum here would be 2, 3 and 5, that's only 14, that's not enough. Now can this be 5? If it can't be 5, we're definitely cooking with gas. 5 here would go with 4, 3, 2. That's nowhere near enough either. So this is not 5. This is beautiful. Right, now I've got a 7, 8 pair here, which is fixing this digit as a low digit. So that's 5, that's 1. There's no 1 in these cells. And this is gorgeous. Right, now we've got a 1, 5 ruled out from this 6 arrow, which forces this one to be the 1, 5. This is not a 1 anymore. This 2, 4 pair is looking at that cell, which is a 5. And that's surely going to rule out the option of these cells adding up to 29, which was associated with these 2 cells adding up to 16. So these have to now add up to 17. And that means this can't be a 6, I think, because it's the green cells that are adding to 17. And there's now a 5 in my green cells. So this must be a 6. This is now a 1, 2, 3 triple. These cells don't have 6 in them anymore. Oh, yes, okay, that makes sense. So these are adding up to 28, which is 4, 7, 8, 9. So that does look right. Let's have a look at that. This is a 7 now. So these, this is so beautiful. The way this is unwinding is so clever. Look, now those have to add up to 10 to make this add up to 17 on the region sum line. So there's no 4 in those. So this is 2, 3, 5, which means this is 1. This is now a 2 or a 3. This is a 4 by the power of Sudoku. And 7. All right, these are not 7 anymore. Oh, so that's pushing up this total, look. So now we're up to 6 plus 8 plus 1 is 15. Oh. Oh, bobbins. Okay, fair enough. So on this equal sum line, we've now got 4 6s, 8s and 9. No, 4, 8 and 9. The 6 pencil mark is saying that 6 is on this side. So this is 4, 8 or 9. And this is 4, 7 or... Oh, that is lovely. Okay. That's my favourite thing in the puzzle so far. Look at these equal sum lines. This is so clever, because one thing we could do is note that in row 6 the 4 is on this equal sum line, and in column, well, actually in this box, the 4 is on the equal sum line. So the 4s are going to cancel out, which means that there must be another shared digit between this purple and this orange, and it can't be 9. Look, there's no possibility to put 9 in here. I'm not sure why. Oh, that's because we've got 9s in these two cells. That's how we've eliminated the 9 from this side. So this must be 4, 8, and this must be 4, 8. Which means this is now 6, 9. So we're up to 16. So this is, well, obviously that's the corollary of this being 4, 8, is that this is 7, 9. So these digits are now 4, 5 and 8, I think. Now that's not a 4. So this is either 11 or 14. No, okay, well this is not 14 because we can't make it with 6, 8 or 5, 9. So that's got to be a 5, I think. So this is 11 now. This is not 5 or 6 by Sudoku. So this is 2, 3 or 4. Which apparently is completely possible. Okay. Let's tidy up some pencil marks again and keep staring. What have we not done recently? We have not looked at it's got to be a 4 up here on this. Oh, that's right, that's nice. Okay, where does 4 go in this column? It's not here. So that means that there's a 4 on this arrow, plus a 3. Well, it can't then be adding to 7 because the other digit is not 0. So that must be 8, which means this is 7 by Sudoku. This now must be 4 and 1 to make 8. That's the only way that works. So this is 2 and 3. This is a 1. Ah, okay. Now look, we've got 1s in this domino and 1s in this domino. So a question we could ask is, where does 1 go in row 3? It can't be here, and it can't be here, so it's got to be there. So that's 1, that's 5. That's nearly, oh no it is, no, where does 5 go in box 1? It's actually good. If we actually do proper Sudoku scanning, that's 5. That's 5, and there's a 5 in one of those two cells. That might be as far as we get with that. Oh no, okay, so in the top row we need to put 1, 2 and 4 in. Well, this can't be 1 or 4 because there's a pair there. So that's really quite cute as well. So all of this gets unwound. All of this gets unwound. Good grief. So 6 is now placed in box number 1, which means these squares have got to be 3s, 7s and 9. We don't know enough about those. 3s, 7s and 9s, look. Can we do this 4, 8 pair? Yes, we can. Good. 8 and 4. Can I do this 7, 9 pair? No, okay, look, this cell is a 7, 8 or a 9 by Sudoku. There's definitely an 8 in this domino. This is not 4 anymore, so that's good. That means this is not 7, because we know these are adding up to 11. So it still doesn't resolve this, but we're nearly there, I think. So it's 2. This square here is 2, 3, 7 or 9, all of which seem to be possible. What about these 3 digits then? Okay. Yeah, okay, from the, sorry, I should have seen this before, but look, I've not put 9 in here. So these are 2, 3 and 9. So that's not 9. Oh, we could have seen that before from the, but this is still good. This is still taking us forward. 8 and 7 go in. And oh, this one, I've neglected this one as well. This has got a 9 on it. So it's at least 12, isn't it? It's got 9, 1, 2 might be possible. So this is at least 12. And it can't be 9 or 8, so this has got to have a 7 on it. Oh, that nearly is very good. So actually the highest value for this is 6, 7. So it's either 5, 7 or 6, 7. And it's not 5, 7. That's really clever. Right, so this is 6, 7, adding up to 13. And this has got 9 on it, so it can't be 9 and 2, because then it will need another 2. So it must be 9, 3, 1, and this is a 3. And therefore this is a 1, 9 pair. And that's actually resolved. 1, 9 go in the grid. That's 9 by Sudoku. This is all getting done. 2, 3, 3, 2. These 2 squares are 6 and 7. And these 2 squares are 2 and 5. And that's resolved. 2, 5. And maybe that's a 6, looking at our pencil marks and relying on those. So this column just needs 2, 4 and 8. So the 2 must go at the bottom because of this 2. And this is a 4, 8 pair, which is resolved. That's 8, 9, which is resolved. That's 9 now. This is 3, 7, which somehow isn't resolved. I'm sure that's resolved somehow. I just can't see it quickly. Right, this is 3, 7. This is 8 here, so this is 8, 4. I think that's been available for ages. Apologies if you've been shouting at me about that. And this is resolved. 6, 7, 7, 3. Okay, so now we just need 3 and 4 into those cells. We just need 1 and 5 into these cells. How's this all getting figured out? There's lots and lots of dominoes here. This cell perhaps. Yes, that's 3. No, that's just reinstated yet another domino in these. So it's going to be this. That's going to be the thing that's going to, I think, break our dominoage in the bottom. Well, in row 7 and 8. So there's going to be a reason that this can't be something. Yeah, that's so lovely. Look at this. This is either 3, 8 or 2, 9. Well, what it is not is 3, 8. Because what would these 2 cells both have to be then? They both have to be 4. Isn't that beautiful? So actually, let me just check the order is. This is the low one, isn't it? Yeah. So this is 2. This is 9. This is 9. This is, whoopsie. This is 9. This is 7. Now that means this is 9. This is 6. This is 6. This is 7. Keep going. I need more. 2 and 5. 5 and 1. Okay, that's good. I need something to do these 3s though. Yeah, okay, so now we can ask where 8 goes in this row. And it's got to go here. And that does the 4 and the 3s as well. That puts 4 down here. It puts 3 here, which does my 3 and my 7. This column needs a 1 in it. Don't know what these digits are, but hopefully we can work it out. 7 and 8 by the looks of things. So that has to be 7, that has to be 8. That looks good in this row. And I think that's how to solve the puzzle. Yay! Very, very beautiful puzzle indeed. Playmaker 6174 as usual. And quite mysterious at the start. I liked the stuff around the equal sum lines having to have the same sum as those digits. That was very cute. This I found very hard to understand until I suddenly thought, I'm stuck, let's do Sudoku, and realised this had to be on an arrow cell. I think you could possibly spot that instantly, and maybe it would really break the puzzle open quickly. But actually my favourite bit wasn't even those gorgeous bits I've just talked about. My favourite bit was this bit, and working out that these, because both of them had a 4 on it, the other digit had to be the same, and it had to therefore be 8s rather than any 7-9 configuration. That was very cute indeed. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was actually a bit easier than yesterday's. No, goodness only knows what they'll have for me tomorrow. But I look forward to the comments on this one, especially if they're kind. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.